Throughout history, dolls have been given to children to pass the time and spark their young imaginations, and even as tools of reassurance in solemn times. However, in some cultures, dolls have been given to the young as a tool of education to teach them about subjects in an entertaining, personal, and creative way. Native Americans across North America have used dolls to teach the young about their ancestors and their ancestral ways for centuries. These dolls are called Kachinas. What you see here is a Kachina doll, one belonging to the Hopi tribe, a band of Native Americans living in northwestern Arizona. Specifically, this is Hemis Kachina, dating back from the late 1930s. He is particularly seen and used only once a year in the month of July for the Niemann ceremony, or in other words, the homegoing ceremony. His Kachina responsibilities, or duties as we can call them, are to bring the rain and the first mature corn of the harvest to the people of the villages as a symbolic meaning that an abundant, prosperous harvest is to come. Now the Hopi have been here for decades. The first recorded encounter with the Hopi people dates back to the 16th century, which means they span a great distance in their native northwest Arizona, spanning 1.5 million acres to be exact. Within these 1.5 million acres, the tribe spans 12 villages across 3 mesas, aptly named First Mesa, Second Mesa, and Third Mesa. This explains why each Hemis Kachina looks different. Each village depicted each Kachina to their own understanding around some general guidelines. Same as we draw a human generally the same, but different to our own personal preferences. As we see here, generally Hemis Kachina includes his elaborate rectangular headdress, square head, white kilt, and black body, sometimes depicting signs of fertility to ensure a good crop season. Those would be those little white lines on his torso. Prior to introducing our guest of honor, Hemis Kachina, I mentioned that these dolls are primarily used in education. Although I have been calling these figures dolls, they are actually meant as physical representations of the Hopi spirits called Kachina, hence the origin of the doll's name. The Hopi traditionally believe that the earth was created by Tawa, the sun god, and that everything on earth is alive with a spirit. To quote the documentary, Hopi, a people of peace, for the Hopi, the entire universe is alive. Every part is interconnected and each part affects the whole. This includes man, who must also help in maintaining the harmony of the universe. So, if every plant, animal, rock, tree, river, insect, person, cloud, and element is alive, does that mean that each one has a Kachina spirit? The answer is yes. There are over 200 Kachina spirits, each with their corresponding Kachina dolls. According to Hopi belief, the Kachinas reside in the San Francisco Peaks, a volcanic mountain range north of Flagstaff, Arizona, and southeast of the Grand Canyon, from roughly around August to mid-December. A few days before the winter solstice, Soyal left the home of the Kachinas and entered the Hopi villages, marking the beginning of the Kachina season. From here until July, each month was marked with events, ceremonies, and dances where Kachina dolls were given out to the children. Come July, near the summer solstice, the final event of the Kachina season took place, the Niemann ceremony. This is where our guest Hemis Kachina comes back into play. During the first day in Niemann, the Kachinas, led by Hemis, appeared in the village plaza with the first corn of the season as a symbol of a bountiful harvest. Following this, singing and dancing took place, as well as blessings from the Kachinas. Once the ceremony was over, the Kachinas made their journey back home to the San Francisco Peaks for the remainder of the year. In today's modern world, during the Kachina season, Hopi men embody the Kachina spirits in elaborate costumes and masks, replicas of the Kachina dolls, and play games, bring gifts, and perform ritual dances. This is all done in a nod to their traditional mythological belief, maintaining the balance of earth and bringing rain to the much-needed Arizona desert. During these ceremonies, dolls were hand-carved and given to children as a teaching tool to learn about the Kachina spirits. Men carved the dolls out of cottonwood root, and for good reason. The Hopi call cottonwood pako, or waterwood, because the water has a fantastic ability to find and sustain water for the plant. Therefore, making the Kachina dolls out of pako is believed to mirror the plant's ability with water as the Kachina spirits do for the Hopi people. These dolls were given to the youth not only as a teaching tool about the spirit world, but also as a reminder of their Hopi community. Each doll was not meant as a play toy, but rather to be hung up on a beam or wall in the pueblos, or houses, to constantly be in sight as a reminder of their ancestors, the Kachina spirits, and strength of the community. Of course, that doesn't mean kids didn't play with them. The first recorded Kachina dolls date back to the mid-1880s when Europeans or the white man began to create friendly contact and trade with the Native Americans. We call this time the early traditional era in Kachina doll history. The dolls were crafted out of one piece of wood and had a very abstract, stiff human appearance to them. Naturally, these dolls were strictly made for the Hopi people. From 1910 to 1930, the next era occurred, the late traditional era. During this time, the federal government deemed the Grand Canyon, Zion, and Bryce Canyon national parks, which boosted tourism using newly built railways across the Southwest. This established an interest in Native Americans from the white Americans, who often got quite nosy in the Native American culture. Their interest in Native Americans led to a more human and detailed adaptation of the Kachina dolls, as the Hopi saw an opportunity for them on the market. In the 1930s, the dolls began taking on action poses, aptly naming the era the Early Action Era. Then, from 1945 to present day, the Kachina dolls are in the Late Action Era, meaning the dolls still retain classic elements to their look with action poses, but now have bases attached to them specifically for tourists to buy rather than be hung in the house. Throughout time, dolls have always been looked at as a symbol to teach gender roles, entertainment, characteristics of a culture, and religious, historical, or in this case, ancestral beliefs. Despite the tourism market and the struggle to remain a simple people in the middle of a complex nation, the Hopi maintain a balance of their ancestral ways with that of our modern world. Putting Hopi into translation, the peaceful people, or peaceful little ones, use dolls in their culture just as others do today.